Okay, let's go to the computer, since I think this is where you're going to be doing a lot of this work. I've recreated the page we were looking at before at the piano in a Sibelius document, and just to remind you what we're doing, we have the subject on the first line, and I can highlight that measure, and we've gone through all of these down to here, and we're ready to play line 11 with the subject. So I can highlight both of these lines in Sibelius and play just them. So this is going to be a canon between the subject, and the answer is a minor ninth lower. The subject starts on C, the second voice starts on B, and it's one beat later. So we can listen to this. Okay, not very good. Let's listen again and then talk about why. I have my comments here in red, but in the first measure, there are tenths between the two voices. Almost all the time there are 3/10. It's easier to see if I take the blue away. There's a B below that E flat, that's a tenth, a D below the F sharp, and then F below the A, so there are too many major tenths. It doesn't sound like dissonant counterpoint. And then there are parallel fifths in the second measure, as the upper voice is going D down to C sharp, the lower voice is going from G to G flat. So this one we'll reject. Let's go to the next one. Now we've got canon at the 1 beat and at the 11th. Problems again. We hit an octave on the second note of the lower voice down here, and then in the second measure you can see in my comments that there's a parallel major seventh that happens above the E flat, no, above the above the E flat there's a D, and above the D there's a C sharp. So that sounds bad. Let's listen again. Usually what happens is we just won't really like the way a canon sounds, and then you look into it and find that it has these technical problems. Yeah. Let's go to the next pairing. This is going to be canon at the 12th, and just to save time we can see we're expecting parallel minor ninths in measure 2. That will really stick out, so let's listen to that. Yeah, yeah, you can hear that. Also, these lower voices are getting really low. They don't need to be down in this octave. We can switch this one up an octave. There's no need for it to be a 12th when it could just be a 5th. Let's actually listen to it that way. This is the kind of thing you'll do. Yeah, I don't like that at all. I'll put it back the way it was to match our paper document. And the bottom one on this line, we're going to listen to line 1 and line 14. Curtis says poor, except for ending. So we can look forward to bad beginning, good ending. Oh, that's really, really awful. There are octaves. There are 3 instances of octaves in the first measure, and then maybe the ending's okay. Yeah, so perhaps you would use just that little fragment of it if you're fragmenting the subject. Okay, let's go on to the last page where there are a few more things to listen to. We start inverting the subject. Here is subject at the canon at the 2 beats, the lower voice in inversion, but starting on a C, just like the subject does. Yeah, that's interesting. Problem is we do hit an octave on the A here. Maybe I'll write in a comment about that. Listen again and you'll hear it. And that takes a little bit of interest away. I will say that this kind of thing is really easy to notice if you're playing it on the piano, even if you play it very slowly. And it can be hard to notice on the computer because anything you play back on the computer will sound basically okay. You know you're looking for dissonance, and it's hard to be as critical when you're not actually physically playing it. Let's go to the next one. Here's original subject against inverted second voice, now at time interval of 1 beat. Oh, I think that one is good. No bad intervals are hit, like octaves, unisons. The counterpoint seems good, so maybe that's a keeper. Next, we try the subject. Initial statement is inverted, and there's a voice below it. The original is just as it was, but down an octave. And here's Curtis's comment again about an octave that's struck on the 4th beat. Let's see if we like it or not. As octaves go, that one doesn't bother me so much. And finally, subject in inversion against the original in the lower octave at a time interval of 1 beat. Yeah, Curtis says good, and I agree. That's a keeper. So you can see how this goes. We've only started into inversions, and there are lots of different pitch levels you can try this at, and lots of different time intervals. We haven't done anything starting on a half beat, so all of this can be done over pushing the second voice ahead or back by half a beat to see what you get.